Should YouTube stop making rewind videos? It's a bit of an odd question to ask, seeing as we're now 10 rewind videos into this tradition of a sort of a retrospective compilation music video that highlights who and what made the past year on YouTube special. Suggesting that the site stops making these rewind videos would almost be like asking Spotify to stop giving us a yearly rundown on just how terrible our taste in music is. After all, not all of the rewind videos are bad. 2013 and 2014 are some of the best ones, with highly memorable songs, creative editing, and most importantly what I'd say was a proper snapshot of creators who had built themselves up on the site. And 2018's video failed in several ways. It failed by showcasing people like Ninja and Will Smith who didn't start on YouTube and still aren't people I'd consider personally to be proper YouTubers, since they're mostly involved in other fields. It failed by having some atrocious editing that made 2017's video look like a Scorsese film. And above all else, it failed by trying to incorporate this political message that highlighted how proud YouTube was of certain political groups. And while we all have our own political opinions, I don't immediately think politics when I think of YouTube. If I wanted politics, I'd specifically hunt down the YouTube channels dedicated to them, or I'd go to Twitter and see what everyone else is ranting about over there. If 2018 was memorable for being a worse mess than a 3-year-old's birthday party, then 2019 was most memorable for being completely forgettable. The comparison has already been made 100,000 times over, but this year's rewind video truly was just a Watch Mojo or Matthew Santoro top 10 video without the narration or personality. Rewind this year was a countdown of the top most liked and viewed content on the platform for the year, with copyrighted music over the background. If I were to put myself in YouTube's shoes for a second, I can understand that they wanted to not repeat the mistakes from last year. But watching this year's video, I can see that there were some large takeaways that YouTube took and adapted to a little too literally. For starters, the largest public outcry was that the people featured in Rewind last year were largely uninvolved with YouTube, aside from having a channel that they upload stuff to via some hired media person. Point in case, Ninja. Secondly, we on the platform made it clear that we, the YouTube community, pride ourselves in making 2018 the most disliked video on YouTube. To YouTube, this communicates that we'd like to represent our opinions on things through likes. And third, since the video was disliked more than Justin Bieber's Baby, it would stand to reason that the format that YouTube has been using for the past half-decade wasn't what we wanted at all. If the corporation that's supposed to be supporting every single creator on the site pushes out a video that's widely regarded in both personal and public opinion as the worst one yet, then clearly everything must change. Finally, if you've been watching the news or have been listening to any number of YouTubers far more intelligent than I am, YouTube has been under pressure from the FTC to stop marketing towards kids, as they find YouTube's practices to be in violation of a law that is as old as I am. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you all forgot about COPPA by now. With all of that in mind, YouTube this year had to make a video that would feature creators in an unbiased way. This is all summarized best by the lines of text at the beginning of the video that say,
"So in 2019, let's see what you did like, because you're better at this than we are."
And the best way to show a lack of bias towards any particular party is to cram statistics down someone's throat. We vote with our likes, so YouTube took what we liked literally and featured that exactly. We know what creators we like, and if we're going off of what we viewed and liked the most, then surely the top people in almost every category will be representative of that. YouTube understands that the overdramatic skit type video featuring a bunch of creators that are less well known by the most diehard YouTube stans. Am I allowed to say that when I'm talking about K-pop? So why not feature what we all most likely saw? To cap it all off, the FTC can't condemn YouTube for featuring a creator whose videos they find to be in violation of COPPA this year, because YouTube is literally just posting statistics. They're literally showing a snapshot of the highlights of the site by showing unbiased statistics. Saying that YouTube Rewind this year was a big middle finger to US government policies would be like saying that I'm anti-Canada simply because I point out how terrible our economy is. If anything, it's a video that's based on careful indifference. With all of that in mind, I feel like I understand why YouTube Rewind this year was nothing more than a top 10 list. Yet at the same time, I felt let down by the fact that I could have made this video myself. A few hours on a YouTube statistics website, Premiere and After Effects, and boom, I have a new video about the best performing videos on the website. It's not special if I were to do it, mostly because only about 40 to 50 people watch my videos anyway, and it's uninspired if YouTube does it. What I love YouTube for is how accessible it is for independent creators. You don't have this level of freedom and possibility on pretty much any other video platform, because Vimeo is more artistic than anything, and Dailymotion hardly exists anymore. YouTube is the definitive video making website, and that's something that needs to be celebrated. Plus, as an indie creator, I can't make a video that features live shots of several YouTube personalities much more significant than I am dancing to whatever song was the most popular this year. I don't have that kind of money or that level of connection with people, but YouTube does. Despite all of this though, can we talk about how the biggest letdown of this year's YouTube Rewind has to be the fact that it was the rewind for the end of this decade. This is the 10th video in the Rewind tradition, and nothing disappoints me more than the fact that this could have been the most creative, biggest throwback collaboration rewind of them all, that encapsulates everything that made YouTube special over the last 10 years. While some have dropped off significantly, there still are classic creators putting out content to this day. Ryan Higa, Rhett and Link, Stampy, PewDiePie, etc. This year could have been a celebration of the last 10 years of YouTube that brought back so many nostalgic moments for a lot of us, combined with modern content that would let us see how far we've come since 2010, the biggest rewind of them all. Yet here we are, with YouTube being so scared to repeat last year's mistakes that they were willing to make anything that wasn't even remotely similar to what they had done before. And before I ask, should YouTube stop making rewind videos though, we need to first answer why. So after the last 3 years of rewinds ended in a debacle, it's clear that YouTube is now facing themselves with an impossible task. With the platform being home to so many different personalities, and with the site having so much traffic from all kinds of sources, trying to make a video that appeals to everyone's tastes and is mutually inclusive is realistically unfeasible. I also think that people look for reasons to hate YouTube Rewind. Like, no matter what YouTube puts out at this point, everyone's going to find a reason to just completely crap all over it. The thing is that if you point out something that everyone else agrees is terrible and are outspoken about it, then you're bound to start this massive hate-filled echo chamber that drags the whole experience down. I honestly believe that YouTube should stop making rewind videos because the platform is too big to be all-inclusive. They're under pressure from the US government to represent their platform in a neutral stance, which they can't do. They haven't learned the definition of nostalgia. They don't know how editing really even works, and no matter what they'll put out, we're going to hate it anyway. It's not the end of the world if YouTube stops making rewind videos, and since this is the end of the decade, maybe it's time that we retire the tradition. So what if YouTube were to redo this year's rewind? What should be included? Well, I think that having a highlight reel of some of the most influential and popular creators throughout the years would have been a great touch. Again, seeing as it was the end of the decade. A thanks for 10 years of rewind would have been a classy nod to the platform as a whole, and some great cringe would have been pulling up old trends or memes from past years. Imagine a troll song or Brody Quest reference in 2019. We would absolutely mock it for sure, but since the theme would be ideally more centered around celebrating the past decade, I think it would have been acceptably cringeworthy. What I think needs to happen in order for YouTube to create a good rewind, since the last 5 have become progressively more and more atrocious, is hire a writer who knows both how to work screenplay and is actually involved in trends on the platform. The rewinds have been very surface level evaluations for the last few years, and having someone who works 60+ hours on the site, like most indie creators do, consult with directors on YouTube would at least make it seem like someone up top is listening to us dirt gremlins. So make YouTube Rewind about YouTube and the vast creative content that the site has to offer, instead of a poorly acted and edited sketch about what YouTube, you, think the rest of the world wants to see. Embrace indie creators, take pride in the fact that your platform is home to videos of some of the most influential people on the planet, and for the love of God, learn from your mistakes. That's all I have for this one. Thanks for watching. Hope you have a great day, night, or space cycle, depending on when and where you watch this video, and I will see you on the flip side. Goodbye.